Naila, why is English language important to learn?
This is because English language is an international language and is widely followed and understood by people across the world.
I want to learn this language.
To learn every language, there are some skills to develop. Follow this class to learn these skills.
We welcome you once again, our viewers, to MT Africa on our program English Language. We are going to continue from where we stopped the other time. The main discussion is on relationship between clauses. Today, the subtopic is the compound sentence. Let us look at the objectives for the lesson. It is our aim that by the end of the lesson, you should be able to 1. Mention the difference between a simple sentence and a compound sentence. 2. You should be able to also construct correctly compound sentences. So that at the end of the lesson, if you are asked to construct a compound sentence, it shouldn't be difficult for you to do that at all. And then 3, you should be able to give one relationship at least that exists between clauses of a compound sentence. Now let's go into the lesson. But before then, let's have a recap of our previous lesson. We learned something the last time we met. It's good we try our hands on what we learned in order to help us remember most of the things. First, we said a sentence is the highest grammatical unit. Now, in English language, when we are arranging the various units that compose of the English language, the highest grammatical unit we can consider is a sentence. So it means that a sentence has the most important or almost all the various components of the grammatical unit we have in English language. We also said a sentence with a subject-verb relationship is a clause. That's a statement with a subject-verb relationship is a clause. So if you have a statement, and in that statement you can identify a subject, you can also identify a verb, and there is a relationship between these two, then that statement is qualified to be called a clause. We also said that a sentence can be made of one independent clause or 2 or more related clauses. Now, if you have a sentence that is made of only one clause, automatically it means that that clause is an independent clause. You can also have a sentence that is made of not only one clause, but 2 or more clauses, but these clauses are related in a certain way. Some kind of relationship exists between them to qualify them as a sentence. So these were the things we mentioned, and we need to have these things in mind as we keep on building upon the topic. In relation to what we discussed last week, we had the following sentences. We had a sentence like, the boxer left disappointed. Did she report to work? Avoid such reckless act. These were the sentences we constructed in helping us understand our discussion on the structure of a sentence. All the above sentences are simple sentences. So let's take note. The 3 sentences we have there are all simple sentences. Why do we say they are simple sentences? The discussion, as the discussions unfold, we will be able to understand that fact. So we are requiring all of us, those of you at home, my cherished viewers, to construct 5 of such simple sentences. Construct 5 simple sentences. That is a statement having a subject-verb relationship, a statement orthographically that begins with a capital and ends with either a question mark an exclamation, or a full stop. A statement that has at least one independent clause. If you're able to bring out any statement of this nature, then certainly that statement is likely to be a simple sentence. So just construct 5 simple sentences. I'll give you a minute for you to finish, and then we continue. Now we say a sentence made of only one independent clause is a simple sentence. So let's take note. If you have a statement that is made of only one independent clause, then that statement is a simple sentence. Now we say independent here means the clause does not depend on another clause before the meaning is clear. Like what we have up there, the boxer left disappointed. We do not need any additional information to help us understand that that statement is complete. So such a statement is a simple sentence because it's made of only one independent clause. Now let's have a mental reflection. Comment as whether or not the statement is qualified to be a sentence. The statement that we are going to display, I want you to make a comment as to whether that statement is qualified to be a sentence or it isn't qualified to be a sentence. So you come to the conclusion by subjecting each statement to the various things we discussed about a sentence. So the first one, a compound sentence. Is it qualified to be a sentence? Or it isn't qualified to be a sentence? You should have a reason. 2. A compound sentence consists of 2 independent clauses. A compound sentence consists of 2 independent clauses. Does it qualify to be a sentence? Or it doesn't qualify to be a sentence? You should be able to get that by subjecting the statement to what makes a statement a sentence. Now 3, George bought them. George bought them. Is it qualified to be a sentence? Or it isn't qualified to be a sentence? 4, Trials of Thunder is her favorite poem. Now we have Trials of Thunder underlined. It means it is a title of a particular poem that this lady enjoys a lot, either by listening or reciting. So we have it, Trials of Thunder is her favorite poem. That statement, is it qualified to be called a sentence? If it is, what are your reasons? If no, what are your reasons? Subject that to what we discuss on sentences. And then the last one, that's the 5th. When we were at school on Monday. When we were at school on Monday. Is that statement qualified to be a sentence or it isn't qualified to be a sentence? Thanks for going through that. Let's continue. Now we are going to look at a compound sentence. We are now going into the details of the lesson today. When we say a compound sentence, what comes to mind? Now let's look at the following pair of sentences. We are going to have pair of sentences, and those pair of sentences are what we are going to use in uncovering, in discussing in detail what a compound sentence is. Now we have Daniel brought some fruits. Then the other pair is Martin ate all the fruits. So these are 2 pair of sentences. Daniel brought some fruits. Martin ate all the fruits. Then another pair, our leader asks for contributions. Our leader asks for contributions. Then the other pair of that is Samuel gives his opinion. Samuel gives his opinion. So we have the first pair. Daniel brought some fruit. Martin ate all the fruit. And the second pair to be our leader asks for contributions. Samuel gives his opinion. We are going to use these two pair of statements or sentences in building what is known as a compound sentence. So we say in the pair of sentences, each sentence is a complete meaningful statement on its own. The various pair of sentences we had, each one of them, each sentence from each pair is a complete statement, or it's a statement that gives a complete meaning on its own. One doesn't depend on the other to give any meaning. For example, we said Daniel brought some fruits. We do not need any additional information for that statement to give us a complete meaning. It's clear. Whoever the speaker is addressing, the meaning is clear. Daniel brought some fruits. You do not need any information, or that statement doesn't need any information before the meaning comes out clear. Then Martin ate all the fruit. That's also clear. It tells us exactly what Martin did. Martin ate all the fruit. So the speaker says this, and the one the speaker is addressing clearly understands what the statement is all about. You do not need any additional information to get the meaning. It doesn't depend on another information before the meaning comes out clear. Then the other pair, our leader asks for contribution. It's also a clear statement. Our leader asks for contributions. It's clear, the meaning explicit. You don't need to ask further questions before you understand what it means. Then the other one is Samuel gives his opinion. It tells exactly what Samuel does. And that statement doesn't depend on any previous statement before the meaning comes out clear. Again, it doesn't also rely on any additional statement that is to come before we can understand what that means. So the four sentences are all sentences that gives complete meaning on their own. Each one gives a complete meaning on its own. Therefore, each statement is made of only one independent clause. So the fourth statement is made of only one independent clause. It is therefore called a simple sentence. So Daniel brought some fruit. It's an independent clause and is therefore a simple sentence. Martin ate all the fruit. It's an independent clause and is therefore a simple sentence. We say an independent clause because it does not depend on another clause before the meaning comes out clear. Our leader asks for contributions. It's a simple sentence and it's an independent clause because the meaning is clear on its own. And Samuel gives his opinion. It's also a simple sentence. So all these four sentences are simple sentences, and each one gives us a complete idea on its own. Now let's look at the following pair of sentences. We are bringing these pair of sentences together. Now we have the first one. Daniel brought some fruits, and Martin ate all the fruits. So this time we are bringing the pair of sentences together as one common sentence. So we have the first one to be Daniel brought some fruits and Martin ate all the fruits. This time around we have a sentence from the two pair of sentences. And then the second one, our leader asks for contributions and Samuel gives his opinion. So we have the two pair of sentences, the two pair of independent clauses, the simple sentences put together here to give us one sentence. And that sentence is, our leader asks for contributions and Samuel gives his opinion. So the pair of sentences have been linked or joined together by what is called a conjunction. Conjunction is not a new term to most of us. Conjunction is introduced from the primary level. So when the word conjunction is mentioned, it's very simple for anyone who have ever come in contact with the English language, even from the primary level, to understand. So the two sentences we have gotten out of the four sentences have been brought together, each pair was brought together to form one sentence. So we have Daniel brought some fruits and Martin ate all the fruits. And then the second we have, our leader asks for contributions and Samuel gives his opinion. These are the two sentences we've gotten from the pair of sentences we had. Now let's go on. Now, a compound sentence, what do we then say is a compound sentence? We say when the various independent clauses are linked together in a perfect way, a different kind of sentence emerges from the pairs. As we've seen, when we brought those two pairs of sentences, the first pair, when we brought them together, a different kind of sentence emerged from it. And we had Daniel brought some fruits and Martin ate all the fruits. So that was a sentence that emerged from the two pair we had. Then the second one, our leader asks for contributions and Samuel gives his opinion, also being a different sentence altogether, emerging from the two pairs. And we realize that when we have these sentences, the meaning we get is different from when each sentence from the various pairs stood on their own. What we are saying is that, let's take sentence 1 for example. Daniel brought some fruits and Martin ate all the fruits. We realize the meaning it gives is completely different from when we had the individual pair, in the individual statement from the pair. That is, Daniel brought some fruit. If you say Daniel brought some fruit, the meaning it gives is complete at that level. Then you have Martin ate all the fruit. That also is complete at its level at that place. But now, having brought these two statements together, and now having a complete sentence emerging altogether, being Daniel brought some fruit and Martin ate all the fruit, the meaning we now get there is completely different from the pairs. In the same way, our leader asks for contributions and someone gives his opinion. Also gives us a complete idea from the individual sentences we had from the pair. So if we say our leader asks for contributions, it ends there. Samuel gives his opinion, it also ends there. Now, having the two, our leader asks for contributions and Samuel gives his opinion, gives us a unique kind of statement which has its own unique meaning when we begin to analyze. Therefore, the kind of sentence that is created from this perfect union of the various pairs is termed a compound sentence. When we are able to bring independent clauses, two independent clauses, if you are able to bring them in a perfect union, you are able to link two independent clauses perfectly. A sentence that emerges from such link is called a compound sentence. So therefore, a compound sentence is a sentence consisting of two independent clauses. So any sentence that is made of two independent clauses is a compound sentence. It shouldn't be difficult. If you have a sentence and you think it's a compound sentence, first of all, you should be able to identify two independent clauses. Disintegrate them, disjoin them, if you want to be sure. Does one gives a complete meaning? Does the other also gives a complete meaning? If yes, then you are having a compound sentence. Now what I'm saying that in linking independent clauses to form a compound sentence, conjunctions are needed. So that is why we have and. So anytime we are linking two independent clauses together to form a compound sentence, we surely and certainly would have to rely on what is termed as conjunction. So when two independent clauses are given equal importance by the speaker in the link, like a speaker gives two independent clauses equal importance, let's not forget, compound sentence is made of two independent clauses. So here the speaker gives equal importance to these two independent clauses, and therefore realizing this importance uses a specific kind of conjunction to link them. A term called coordination comes to play in giving meaning to such a compound sentence. What we are saying is that you have two independent clauses or two simple sentences. You are putting them together. And when you are putting them together, you have it at the back of your mind that you are giving each one equal importance. One is not important than the other. They are both important to you. If that is the meaning you want to put across to your listener or to your reader, then you are then compelled to choose a certain kind of conjunction to link these two clauses together. And when you do that in English, something comes out of it, and that is known as coordination. So when we are talking about compound sentences, we come across what is known as coordination. So anytime we are joining sentences together to create a compound sentence, coordination comes to play. And we shall give a gist of what coordination is in order to enable us to be able to construct a very good compound sentence. Our ability to construct various kinds of compound sentences, giving us different kinds of meaning, depends on our perfect use of coordination. So when we talk of compound sentences, coordination is very, very important. Let's look at the compound sentences we constructed. The first one we had was Martin brought some fruits. And Daniel brought some fruit and Martin ate all the fruits. In this sentence, the speaker put equal weighting on the two independent clauses. Then we have the second one to be our leader asks for contributions and someone gives his opinion. In the same way, the speaker puts equal weight or equal importance on each part of the sentence, that is, on the two independent clauses. So the importance the speaker put on Daniel brought some fruit is the same importance put on Martin ate all the fruit. So that if you're analyzing the meaning, what exactly the speaker is trying to say, so you should know that the speaker wants you to understand the fruit indeed was brought. And the fruit indeed were eaten. This is the meaning it gives to anyone listening or reading. In the same way, our leader asks for contribution and someone gives his opinion, the speaker is putting equal weight or equal importance on the two independent clauses. So when we are speaking or writing, we are able to indicate which part of our statement we put more emphasis or importance on by using a specific kind of conjunction that is termed coordination. So when we are talking about coordination, we are simply letting you understand that it's about you giving equal weighting to your independent clauses in your compound sentence. So if we want to give equal weighting, we do this through the use of coordinate conjunctions. So conjunctions that are considered to be coordinating conjunctions are those we use in giving equal importance to our clauses. There are different ways to link independent clauses in coordinate manner. If you want to construct a compound sentence, and in that your compound sentence you are giving equal weighting, we have different ways of doing that. We therefore have coordinate clauses that indicate one, addition of extra information to what has already been said, or two, add a contrast to what a previous independent clause says. So you can have a clause that is contrasting. Let's say that is a way contradicting. That is a way in negating what has already been said. Three, we can also have an independent clause that offers a choice to what has already been said. And four, we can have an independent clause that gives an end result of what has been said. So what we are saying that when we are talking about coordination or coordinating clause, we are saying that we can have coordination at the level of addition of extra information. We can have coordination at the level of contrast. We can have coordination at the level of a choice. We can have coordination at the level of as a result of something. In our next lesson, we shall pick each one, discuss in detail for us to understand how we are able to coordinate our sentences so that when we are doing this in writing, the message we want to put across becomes very clear. In ending our lesson, let's have a summary of what we discussed. We looked at one, a simple sentence. We say a simple sentence is a sentence that has one independent clause. Then we look at a compound sentence. That is a sentence that is made of two independent clauses. Then we looked at coordination, and that is where you give equal weighting to the two independent clauses in your compound sentence. This is where time will permit us to be with you. We are grateful for your time. It's been an interesting lesson. Keep revising, keep learning. Hoping to meet you once again next week. Until then, we say bye and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.